local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything that would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or at ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We do that every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Today is National Chocolate Cupcake Day. Yum! Where are you getting your chocolate cupcakes today? I am ready. Of course, then again, I am always ready for a chocolate cupcake. You got to love them. Taking a look at the markets this morning. Yes, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 94 points. That's a pretty good rise on the market. But here's the issue. Don't pay a whole lot of attention to it because it is likely to change. We've talked about that before. The markets are extremely volatile right now. We're hearing information. The Federal Reserve, every time they speak, we're getting a different number or a different bit of guidance from them. So I'm just going to share with you that the chairman says we might not be raising interest rates. The commissioners or the Fed presidents then say, well, we're going to raise interest rates. Probably won't happen till December. But the markets, it's the volatility. That's why I've shared with you. If you want to get that safe, secure return on your investments, Al Manfrey, he is the individual that I recommend highly to chat with about that. Got a lot of information yesterday from our seniors that were calling in, listening and chatting or understanding about the broadcast we did on our seniors, the Medicare 101 program yesterday. A lot of great information there. We're going younger today, so we'll be talking a bit about colleges. We're going to also talk about the propositions, California propositions. I've gone through and done a lot of studies on those, so we'll chat about those as well today, but we're still looking at the markets. The oil market, oil is up 12 cents today, holding just ever so slightly above $50 per barrel. U.S. average gasoline, $2.23.8. Here in the state of confusion, we are paying $2.78.4. That's our average for the state of California on gasoline. What's going on with the 10-year Treasury, though? Because I am seeing some benefits in the interest rate market this morning. U.S. 10-year Treasury, it's down about 2/100ths of a point. We call that 2 basis points. 174.7, 1.747 is the yield on that 10-year Treasury. Think about that one. Not good news for our seniors. Good news coming out of Netflix today. Do you have a Netflix account? What's your favorite Netflix show? Yesterday they were talking about Netflix on Death Watch. Today they're talking about it being a great stock. You got to love the stock market. Unbelievable information there. September CPI inflation rose 0.3% from August, matching what the economists were looking for. It was 1.5% higher than a year ago. Core CPI, which excludes food and energy, rose 0.1%. Below the consensus, Labor Department reports prices at the consumer level increased 0.3%. A lot of information coming out there. What does all of that mean to you? Well, it means that if we don't get some wage growth, our buying power will continue to diminish. Damn! Yeah, that's not good news. And boy, those guys are a little loud this morning, aren't they? Moving right along, what else is going on in the world, in the markets? Obviously, we've got the big debate coming on tomorrow night. You going to be watching the debate tomorrow night? Are you tired of hearing all of this garbage in the debate world? Just a simple question right there. I am a self-proclaimed political junkie, so I will be watching the debate, seeing what's going on in the debate market or in the elections. You got to love listening to it. I mean, it is so ironic watching and the social media streams right now. Anything that comes out negative with regard to Hillary Clinton, the machine just goes to work real quick to see if they can dispute it anyway. All of a sudden, I found this very fascinating. All of a sudden, those folks who don't do a whole lot of research in the markets have come up with their newest of the almighty Snopes. They talk about, well, did you look it up on Snopes to see if it was accurate? Well, let's share a little information about Snopes. It is nothing more than a husband and wife, David and Barbara Mickelson, San Fernando Valley, California. No background in investigative research, no background in investigative journalism. State Farm agent. That's what he was. It was a State Farm agent. Nothing against State Farm agents, but they don't have any background in fact checking. And people, I'm hearing this all the time. Well, you didn't if you would have looked at Snopes, you would have known that this was not accurate. You gotta love it. Pay for play. Think about what's going on right now. It's just amazing how I love listening to the mainstream media. They're all about WikiLeaks. Well, they don't want WikiLeaks to be sharing information about our election. Now, if ABC News came out with this, or MSNBC Hee-Haw, if they came out with the same information, or the Clinton News Network, they call that CNN, if they came out with the same information, they would just say that they're reporting information that they have. But because WikiLeaks gets it and reports it, and the Clinton News Network and MSNBC Hee-Haw and the mainstream media won't report on these issues, then they say that they're meddling in our election. I don't understand the difference between meddling in our election and reporting what people should have been hearing about, should have been getting in the first place. Unbelievable. Unbelievable how you have a difference of definitions amongst people. I just wonder how that works. But we will continue to watch. Again, if you want to follow us on any of the social media, we're right there on all of it. We put our information out there. Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook, Ron Siegel on Twitter. You can follow us on YouTube, all of the different channels. Here's the issue that I put on all of our different social media channels is I have no problem with people having differing opinions, and I love to have that debate with folks or watch others debate. I will not allow those people who have differing opinions to be disrespectful or use foul language. And here's my litmus test, because it being it's my page, I get to have that litmus test. If I would be ashamed to say or have those words spoken or comments made in front of my mother or my niece, they're deleted immediately as soon as I see them. That's just it. That's the only rules that we really have on there. So join the conversation. Check us out. Check out what we're talking about. Love to have your opinion. Love to have your input, especially about where those great brownies are. Yeah, gotta go back to that one. I love that information. Commercial bankruptcies up 38% as the debt crushes business. You have to really wonder about businesses that are unburdened with debt right now when we've got such an interesting market, when our markets are really out there and you can borrow money for next to nothing. And that's just a big issue right now. You got to watch that issue. If you can borrow for nothing, why are you getting crushed by debt? Maybe there's a little bit another issue in there. Maybe there's a lack of planning in there. That's one of the big things that a lot of businesses seem to forget. You need to be watching the budget. And we'll talk about this in future broadcasts, but one of the issues that comes up frequently is people forget about the idea that because you've come up with the idea of a business, that you don't have to run business principles. So many business owners are so busy getting themselves ready for doing business that they neglect the idea of understanding what their business is all about, understanding the needs of their business. Just gotta get back to those basics within, and we will continue that conversation. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, historically low interest rates increase your purchasing power. Do you understand how that works? Well, we'll discuss it. Secrets colleges don't want you to know about that could save you thousands of dollars in tuition. Financial red flags to avoid. We've got all that and more. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card volume into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple, and the cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the professional real estate agents at Ron Siegel Radio. Text PEAR to 79564. PEAR to 79564. One of the professionals will reach out to you to get you the true equity position in your property. Cannot get that without talking to one of the professionals. How historically low interest rates increase your purchasing power is the subject of today's real-time real estate segment. According to Freddie Mac's latest primary mortgage market survey, interest rates for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage are currently at 3.47%. Rates have remained at or below 3.5% for each of the last 16 weeks, marking a historic low. The interest rates you secure when buying a home not only greatly impacts your monthly housing costs, but also impacts your purchasing power. Purchasing power, simply put, is the amount of home you can afford buy for the budget you have available to spend. As rates increase, the price of the house you can afford will decrease if you plan to stay on the same monthly housing budget. So I'm going to post a chart showing what impacts rising interest rates would have if you plan to purchase a home within the national median price range and plan to keep your principal and interest payments at, say, $1,100 a month. I use $1,100 because our broadcast, while we are in Orange County, San Diego County, Los Angeles County, we're also covering a lot of other parts of the country, and that just gets us the median numbers. So at $1,100 at 3.5%, you're looking at a $243,000 house. But if interest rates go up to 4.25%, now you're looking at a $225,000 house. You're losing about 10% of your purchasing power as the interest rates go up. With each 0.25% increase in interest rate, the value of the home you can afford decreases by 2.5%. Experts are predicting that mortgage rates will be closer to 4% by this time next year. They've been saying that for a long time. Eventually, they will be correct. That is the real-time real estate segment, again, brought to you by the area-trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text PAIR, P-E-A-R, to 79564. One of their professionals will reach out to you, get you the true equity position of your property. So one of the things that we've been doing, I started this a little bit, I think it was last week, might have been the week before. Been just giving you some information on some of the propositions that are on the ballots here in the state of confusion, Southern California. Actually, all of California. And we covered quite a few of them last time, but we've got some really big ones still here to cover. So I figured I'd go through some of these here this morning, or whenever you're listening to this. It might be afternoon. Sorry to say that. But Proposition 61, that is the drug price standards. And I'm looking at some of these. As of when I did this report, there was $14.5 million on the pro side of this proposition, $86.9 million against it. And I've shared with you many, many times, follow the money. So a yes vote supports regulating drug prices. A no vote opposes regulating drug prices. I'm not, you know me, I'm not in favor of regulating. That means we're going to end up with some sort of a problem down the road. Whenever you go and you hear the word regulating, the less regulation, the better. Think about this. We pay a lot for the regulation of these drug prices. If we were able to go online, take a look at what the price is for the same drugs in Canada. And I've got family that's in the medical industry. I battle with them all the time. If Pfizer says they're making a product X and they're selling product X in Canada, and you've got the exact same product X in California, I hear from them, well, it's not the exact same. Well, how would they have the exact name with the exact dosage in two different countries and have it not be the same formula? Doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm a big proponent on opening up that and let people buy from wherever they want to buy. According to this overview, California spent nearly $3.8 billion on prescription drugs in the fiscal year 2014-2015. Almost 83% of the amount spent on drugs was for Medi-Cal, and the Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS. In California, state agencies negotiate drug prices with manufacturers in attempts to receive discounts and lower prices. Nothing wrong with that one there. In some situations, state agencies independently negotiate drug prices, leading to different agencies of the state paying different prices for the same drug. Go to Canada, buy them a little cheaper. So let's look at this particular issue, and I'm not going to read you the long part of it. Fiscal impact statement for a California ballot initiative authorized for circulation is potential for state savings of an unknown amount depending on 1, how the measure's implementation challenges are addressed, and 2, the responses of drug manufacturers regarding the provision and pricing of their drugs. So we can vote for this and not know if it's going to do any good or not. Love that idea. So who's supporting this? Well, Bernie Sanders. Well, Bernie Sanders would be supporting it because he's for anything that is for regulation, for government takeover of anything. He likes government takeover of everything is right in his wheelhouse. U.S. Representative Mike Honda, Representative David Chu, Representative Kansan Chu. Green Party, California Peace and Freedom Party, Progressive Democrats, they're all for this. AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Al Sharpton. I won't even say anything about that. Supporters make the following arguments in support. The proposition would fight price gouging from drug companies, would provide better access to life-saving drugs, and would save taxpayers billions of dollars. Well, it wouldn't save taxpayers billions of dollars if our state elected officials could do their job properly. Why aren't they doing their jobs in negotiating and using their purchasing power? The opposition for this one, U.S. Representative Tom McClintock, the California Republican Party, the California Libertarian Party, the San Francisco Democrat Party. Now, if you can get the San Francisco Democrat Party and the California Republican Party agreeing on something, you got to take a look at it closely and say, you know something, if both of them are against it, maybe we should be. The NAACP is against this. California Medical Association. There's a lot of groups that are against this. The veterans organizations are all against, I wouldn't say all, but a heavy majority of them are against this. California Taxpayers Association is against it. Now, if it's going to save taxpayer dollars, why would the Taxpayers Association be against it if it was something that was of value? Orange County Business Council is against it. A lot of union organizations that are against it, other than the state public employee union. Does that make any sense to you? Here's the arguments. The proposition would hurt veterans by increasing prescription drug prices for them, reduce patient access to medicines, increase bureaucracy, red tape, lawsuits, and taxpayer costs. And the proponent wrote special provisions for his own organization regarding the proposition. Unbelievable. So there is the information that you need to know on Proposition 61. Which way do you think I'm going on that one? In fact, I'm looking at my list of what I've done here. There's 3, 5, 4. Looks like there's 4 of them that I'm in favor of out of 17. 4 out of 17. Pretty interesting information. California Proposition 62, the repeal of the death penalty. Unbelievable. A yes vote supports repealing the death penalty and making life without the possibility of parole the maximum punishment for murder. A no vote opposes the measure repealing the death penalty. Now, if somebody's willing to kill, why would you want to take anything off the table? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but unbelievable. I guess we should talk about Proposition 62 and 66 together, because Proposition 62 and 66 are not compatible measures. Therefore, if both are approved by a majority of voters, then the one with the most yes votes would supersede the other. You got to love how that goes, where you're looking at different issues. So we're going to compare both of those side by side when we come back. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, more with the propositions, some secrets colleges don't want you to know that could save you thousands of tuition dollars. Think about that one. Financial red flags to avoid. There's about 20 of them. I don't think we'll get to all of the financial red flags, but we want to make sure that you're watching out for those. Make sure that you are avoiding those. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Do you own real estate or have assets over $150,000? Do you know one of your heirs will be the probate courts and the IRS? If you don't have a living trust, you will go through probate. Call Heritage Financial Services toll-free at 1-855-434-7400 for a free review. Check us out on Facebook, Heritage Financial Service in Lake Forest, California. That's 1-855-434-7400. Again, 1-855-434-7400.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. We know that it's wrong because they all are wrong. I've yet to see a credit report in all the years I've been looking at them that is a completely accurate credit report. I'm not saying that we want to have the report be perfect, a perfect score. The accuracy and the score are two completely different issues. But I want to give you this information here. So go to CreditSanitizer.com. They'll take care of getting you your report as clear as possible, as clean as possible. Some secrets colleges don't want you to know that could save you thousands of dollars. When you're a student on a budget, you're aware of how important savings can be, and if you're in the process of deciding which college to attend, or you're already enrolled somewhere, it helps to keep in mind that there are things you can do to lower your tuition bill, especially if you start early. Number one, this is a myth. A lot of people think that the tuition is just a fixed number. You can absolutely negotiate the price of tuition. Ironically enough, private schools are much cheaper than public schools. So you can negotiate the price of tuition. Going to a private school is cheaper than a public school. And know that you are a client, you're a customer. While they make it sound like they're doing you a favor by letting you in, the fact of the matter is you are their customer. You're going to be spending at some schools, $100,000, $200,000, $250,000. That's a good customer. And if it's a difference of going to their institution or not going to their institution, or getting the sale or not getting the sale, there are institutions that will negotiate. Private colleges typically compete with less expensive state-subsidized public universities, and many private schools offer incredible financial award packages to attract good students. They want to get their enrollment up. Why do they have the prices so high if they're willing to negotiate? Well, there are some that come that have the wherewithal or don't know that they can negotiate. There are a lot of foreign students that come in and just pay cash because they want to be in the United States. They want a U.S. Education. So they have those numbers high, and then they can negotiate from there. Do what you can to graduate in 4 years. Obviously, this sounds like it's very, very common sense. But at most public universities, only 19% of full-time students graduate within 4 years. 19% of full-time students graduate within 4 years, according to a report from Complete College America, a nonprofit group based in Indianapolis. Each extra year you stick around campus can cause an added hit to your wallet when you factor in the fact that you're spending money on tuition as well as not drawing in much, if any, income. Think about that one. Here's the issue there. You look at what you need for a total 4-year education. And I think the last time I looked, it was 120 units you need. Yet they consider 12 units, 12 hours a week, to be full-time. Now, if you do the math there, then you're looking at 24 hours a year, 24 units a year if you think of two semesters. So that alone means you're at 5 years. Do the math backwards. You need to be looking at closer to 18 units a semester and budget your time. I know it's a lot of work, but it can be done. I mean, I can tell you this. I did, 1 degree in 3 years and 3 degrees in 4 years. Well, it's because you take a lot of units. You study hard. You do your work. It's not against the rules. You might not need to go to an Ivy League school. Think about that part. I talk about this on a regular basis when you're dealing with finance. Why in the world are you set on a specific name of an institution? Look at your budget. Find the schools that fit within your budget, within your aspirations, within your degree. So many times, students, and it's very interesting now, we're starting to see this. I have a lady that we used for our kids going to college. And she provides this service where she helps the student with all their applications. Great, great service. If you want to meet Jennifer, just let me know. I'll put you in touch with her. But here's the issue. She'll tell the young people, the students, the applicants, if you want to go to college A, they need people, or they're open to in the enrollment of people within this specific degree, and then just change once you get there. Now, most institutions will allow that. So think about that concept of how you can get into where you want to get into. If you want a professional to help you do it or to help your student do it, makes a lot of sense unless you enjoy going through all that work yourself. Best investment I ever made was having her take care of the college applications with my kids. Great opportunity there. She knows because she's talking to so many students and getting so many applications in and back over the years. She can call up the admissions department of school X and say, what are you looking for now? Then she comes to your student and says, apply, even though you want to be a psychologist, apply to the business school or whatever it might be the other way around. And you have a better likelihood of getting into the school you want to get into by making that change. Now, you also understand the fact that a vast majority of the students change their major once they get to school. Well, if they're going to change their major once they get to school, how do you know what school to go to? That's where you take a look at, maybe you want to go to a community college for a couple of years. Make sure the credits are transferable, because that's a big mistake a lot of people make, is they don't check with the school that they want to go to later on, and then they don't have the transferable credits. Not good news, because then you're going and having to take the same course over again. The bottom line here is be savvy about student debt. I see so many people, it's one of the number one causes we have of turning people down on loans, or helping people with home loan rejections, is the fact that they did not take the time to look at what their budget was, look at what the impact was going to be on having on student loan debt. It just really is a shame that we're not giving our young people better guidance when it comes to this part of their process. Going to continue back on, I should say, that is the Your Credit Matters segment, again brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. Moving right along, let's take a look at back to the proposition. So before we went to break, we were talking about the comparison of Prop 62 and Prop 66. Prop 62 repeals the death penalty. Prop 66 keeps the death penalty in place. So that right alone kind of gives you an answer as to which direction you want to go. Think about this one. Prop 62, there's $6 million in financing for the proposition, $4 million against it. In Prop 66, $4 million for it, $1 million against it. So that's kind of an interesting dichotomy right there. Prop 62 replaces the death penalty with life in prison without possibility of parole as the maximum punishment for murder. Prop 66 changes the death penalty procedures to speed up the appeals process by putting trial courts in charge of initial petitions challenging death penalty convictions, establishing a time frame for death penalty reviews, and requiring appointed attorneys to work on death penalty cases. Proposition 62 retroactively applies to prisoners already on death row. Unbelievable. Prop 66 stipulates that all effects would occur once Prop 66 is enacted, and authorizes death row inmate transfers among California prisons. Prop 62 would require prisoners sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole to work and pay restitution to victims' families. The portion of wages to be provided as restitution would be increased to 60%. Under Prop 66 would require prisoners on death row to work while in prison and pay restitution to the families. The 70% goes to the victims' families. Why don't they just give it all to the victims' families? What do the death row inmates need any money for? 66 stipulates that any provision found to be invalid will not affect the other provisions of the measure. And again, on 66 stipulates that other death penalty measures approved would be void in the event that more affirmative votes are given for Prop 66. Sounds like some interesting information on that one right there. Ballot summary, we don't even want to get into that because we just gave you the details there. Fiscal impact of a state ballot initiative authorized for circulation is prepared. Net ongoing reduction in state and county costs related to murder trials, legal challenges to death sentences, and ongoing and prisons of around $150 million annually within a few years. Supporters of Proposition 62. Let's see who's supporting this one. Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom, Bernie Sanders, of course. Controller Betty Yee, Insurance Commissioner David Jones. President Carter is a proponent of this one. Texas Governor Mark White, who is, let's see, the opponents of the California Labor Federation, the State Employees Union is against this one, being that they spend so much money on advertising, they must not be too committed to being against it. Activist Don Heller, Ron Briggs, we don't care about all that stuff. Supporters make the following arguments in support of Prop 62. Save taxpayers' money. Who cares about saving taxpayer money when we're talking about murderers out there? Unbelievable that that's their issues. The opponents, Tom McClintock, Ed Royce, Mimi Walters, Jeff Stone, Pete Wilson, George Deukmejian, California Republican Party. Police officers' organizations, almost all of them it looks like. There's a huge amount there. District attorneys are against this one. Seems like it's a pretty strong line drawn there. We might have to look at Prop 66 when we come back and talk about where we stand on Prop 66, who the proponents are, who the opponents are, so we can get a better handle on that part of it as well. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, financial red flags to avoid will be our topic, continuing on the propositions. And you can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But you can get the replay, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Isn't it time you found out the truth about FHA-insured home equity conversion? No, it's not your grandfather's reverse mortgage. This just may be the finest financial planning strategy available for all homeowners of retirement age. Helping protect what you've earned is the job of your board of directors with continued education. Major research has shown that using a HECM will significantly enhance the success rate of a retiree's portfolio and legacy. Please allow us to educate. For your complimentary consultation, call Jay Kaplan at 949-300-3855. That's 949-300-3855.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by Heritage Financial Services. When you own real estate, you gotta have a trust. It's just that simple. Heritage Financial offers about the best trust I have seen in the marketplace. And if you go to the RSR gift bag, you get there by texting RSR gift bag to 79564. There's a coupon in there and the contact information for our friends over at Heritage Financial where they can actually give you a $300 discount on getting the best trust on the market made for you, for your family. Not a pleasant experience dealing with trusts, but I'm just going to suggest to you that Heritage Financial does offer a fine product. So financial experts, planners, and industry experts agree that these 21 mistakes, and I'm not going to get through all of them, raise the biggest red flags, crippling consumers financially and setting them back unnecessarily. So we're going to try and cover a few of them right here. Number one, racking up debt. The average American now owes $5,726.85 in credit card debt. Now, I'm going to share with you, there's a lot of different resources and sources of this information. I've seen as much as $15,000 in credit card debt. If we look at only those U.S. households that carry debt, the average jumps to $15,000 in credit card balances. Factor in mortgages, student loans, car loans, and the average U.S. household with debt carries $129,579, and obviously that is using national numbers, not just California. If you add up our total consumer debt in the entire U.S., we owe more than 101% of our total income. That means that not only do we owe in debt more than we save, but more than we make. Big red flag right there. Number two, not budgeting monthly. If you mapped out your detailed monthly budget and saw that you consistently spend more money than you make, of course it would be a huge red flag. But it's not any better than many people don't even know what they spend every month, nor have any sort of a budget. For those Americans that can track their expenses, about 1 in 5 spend more than they earn, and just 36% break even, according to research by National Financial Capability Study. Your goal should be to join the 41% of Americans who spend less than they earn. Number three, overspending on cards. Not only are we accruing too much debt on our cards, but we also overspend when we use plastic instead of cash. Out of sight must be out of mind when you don't have to actually hand over bills for your purchases, because we're spending way more, often impulsively, when the cards come out. In fact, the average value of a credit card transaction in the U.S. is $94 compared only to $39 for debit card payments and far less for cash. Since we pay for things with debit cards 43% of the time, credit cards 35% of the time, and cash only 9% of the time, you can imagine how much we are overspending. Number four, only paying the minimum. The average U.S. household with debt now pays a total of $6,658 in interest every year, with at least $2,500 of that interest on credit card debt. I think I've got my friends over here who are ready to answer that one. Ow! Yeah. Credit card debt. When we look at that as a piece of our income pie, the average household is now paying 9% of their income just on interest payments. 9% of their income. A source of these exorbitant and unnecessary interest charges is our bad habit of paying only the minimum on our credit cards. Remember that minimum payments usually are calculated to be only 4 to 6% of your total balance, which means that you not only fail to pay down principal when you pay the minimum, but you're probably accruing more debt. Why do you think we talk about the idea that if you're only paying the minimum, you're probably going to be looking at 300 or 400 years until you pay off that debt? Paying late or missing monthly credit card or debt payments. Despite our huge amount of debt, more and more U.S. adults disclose that they don't pay all of their bills on time. In 2011, 28% didn't always pay on time, but that number was up to 33% in 2012 and still on the rise. That means that at least 1 out of every 3 Americans aren't even paying bills on time, yet alone getting ahead financially. Do you need more evidence that we're doing something wrong? More than 32% of those surveyed said it was extremely unlikely that they would be able to pay off all their credit card debt this year. And an alarming 71% of consumers with large balances of credit cards and debt say they are seriously considering bankruptcy as their only option. Number 6, renting a house instead of becoming a homeowner. Big red flag. Owning a home is a source of serious financial benefits like tax deductions, equity growth, and principal pay down every month. But for those who keep renting, they're only throwing money out the window. They're paying their landlord's mortgage. They're making their landlord rich. That gap has become even more profound since rents are skyrocketing. In fact, the average U.S. rent has climbed an astounding 24% since 2010, and they're expected to increase another 8% in 2016 alone. Unbelievable. Being oblivious about your credit score. That's another one. You got to watch that. I tell you that every day. Watch your credit scores. It is important to know what your scores are. According to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, 60% of American adults had not reviewed their credit score and 65% had not reviewed their credit reports within the previous 12 months. Only 29% of adults have reviewed both their credit report and score in the last year, or over just 1 in 4. Those numbers are even bleaker for college kids or millennials. Unreal. That is just a few financial flags to avoid. That's the Word on Wealth segment, again brought to you by Heritage Financial Services. Get that coupon. Text RSR gift bag to 79564. RSR gift bag to 79564. It's about $1,000 sitting there waiting for you. Now, I don't know about you, $1,000 to me is a good amount of money. It's just sitting there waiting for you to ask for it or to go take it. You don't even have to ask for it. All you have to do is text RSR gift bag to 79564 and take what is there for you. That's why we put it there, some gifts for you. Moving back to the propositions that we were talking about, we talked about 62, and that one goes hand in hand with 66. So we gave you the descriptions of it. The only thing we really have left to talk about on 66 is who are the proponents, who are the opponents of this measure. Supporters of 66, Tom McClintock, Ed Royce, Mimi Walters, Jeff Stone, Pete Wilson, George Deukmejian. Looks like a huge number of the police officers and sheriff's departments, a huge number of district attorneys. Keep the death penalty system, which California needs. Speed up the death penalty appeals process while ensuring that no innocent person is affected. Means that the worst criminals receive the strongest sentences. No on 66. Barbara Boxer, Gavin Newsom. Unbelievable. Antonio Villaraigosa, Willie Brown, California Democrat Party, Libertarian Party of California, Green Party, ACLU. These are the folks that are against Prop 66. Just doesn't make sense to me, but we will see where we head with that proposition. That gives you some information on it. The next one up is Proposition 63. That is a background check for ammunition purchases. A lot of proponents, a lot more money for it than against it. Let's look at it and see what we're talking about here. A yes vote supports prohibiting the possession of large-capacity ammunition magazines, and requiring certain individuals to pass a background check in order to purchase ammunition. A no vote opposes this proposition, protecting the Second Amendment. Amazing here. In July 2016, California enacted legislation to regulate the sale of ammunition. The legislation requires individuals and businesses to obtain a one-year license from the California Department of Justice to sell ammunition. The legislation also requires sellers to conduct background checks of purchasers with the Department of Justice. Just got to love all these things. More and more regulation. Here's the issue, the big issue, and they don't talk about this in the initiatives, but the big issue is always going to be the honest people follow the law. The criminals don't care about these laws because they're criminals. That's the bottom line of it. Supporters: Gavin Newsom, Dianne Feinstein, Barbara Boxer. Figures: California Democrat Party, Young Democrats, Santa Monica Democrat Club, Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence. Who are the other people on the other side of this one? The opponents: McClintock, Gaines, a lot of different representatives. The California Republican Party, the Libertarian Party, California Peace and Freedom Party. Looks like the police officers associations, sheriffs associations. Looks like there's a lot. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of money against it, but that's where the dollars are, is on the proponent side. The biggie this year, we don't have time to talk about, but we'll have to get into that one on another day because we're out of time as time just flies by here. So we want you to be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. Talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.